Welcome back to RTC, ladies and gentlemen. Joe's Craig, and today we're going to be looking at a lone artillery outpost, which is a very small outpost that is run by 2 Minutemen for the moment. I'm thinking about putting a small garrison here as well, probably just 5 Minutemen soldiers defending this place, while they protect the one area of, the most important part of their operations, which is the artillery piece here. This is probably one of the single piece artillery bases that I'm going to be doing at the moment, little ones around the wastes that I don't really need or build in certain settlements, so I always have a wide range of artillery nearby as I travel. We have a patrolling officer with the AK, I'm just going to call it that, or the Chinese rifle, or the handmade rifle, but it's the United States Army version of it. So we're going to go inside this small little shack, which we've obtained from the local populace with a proper amount of funding and food and water given to them in trade, that we get to use it as a communication center, and it's in the small armory for the artillery piece outside. So let's have a look at the small communication center first. Our first thing we have here, we have some little bits and pieces that you definitely need in a radio operating center, which is 2 different radios, civilian and Minutemen, to keep an eye on airwaves and see what news or updates or any messages from the castle coming in case they cannot reach you directly through your portable ham radio, which is right there. We also have a long-range radio transceiver, which is connected to the wall, so there's only need of use of a small antenna and this piece of equipment here. Of course, if the base does come under attack and it's at its last length, the distress pulsar will be activated. Along with that will be a flare fired up in the air to warn or call for assistance from any members of the Minutemen in the nearby vicinity, either being the United States Army or the United States Army Rangers, who are most likely going to be patrolling the outskirts of this kind of wooded area, which seems to be their kind of home turf. But now behind us we have the armory for the artillery piece, which includes some ammunition for the troops because they need to resupply their ammo, and then we have some different variants in the kind of cannon shot that I'm going for. Of course, we have the regular cannons which the broadsider cannon uses, but also it makes sense that this kind of mortar slash cannon would use as well. But in essence would still be able to use cannonballs and use the traditional way of firing it. And also, of course, we do have a large supply of mini nukes, which it's also been modified to fire mini nukes, ladies and gentlemen. Also, with the idea of having how would you fire a mini nuke out of that, because usually you have to use kind of a charge pack. I can't remember what the official term is for loading a cannon of this of this era, I guess. I know it's not an exact one, but you would use a black powder or something like that, or I can't remember. I'm so sorry, I can't remember. Or it's like this little drum kind of thing you put into a cannon. I might be thinking of naval ships more than actual field cannons like this. But anyway, if you know, please mention it in the comment section. But my idea of it is how would you get this to fire off in the first place with enough thrust? So without the Fat Man launcher, I tend to use the idea of using the plasma cells as the igniter, which would launch it into the air, giving it the force and velocity it would need to actually travel to its target at the set coordinates, which you would get through the radio center over there. Of course, you have different types of ammunition for the troops that are currently here, a small food supply from the local populace, which helps out a lot, and we also have these giant mini nuke crates as well. So I'm so sorry, folks, I'm doing this quite late at night, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Regarding I know you're going to ask about what's my other builds. Am I building another fort? I'm still working on the ones I want to work on right now, which is Fort Baker, the Marina Naval Station, and the newest one to our list, which is the Air Cavalry, or the AFB, if you want to call it that as well. I actually think this little section looks really nice and makes sense why it'd have a not too much ammunition on their hands, not like a wide armory that I'm always building. But anyway, if we come down here, we do have a separate way to reach up the cannon quickly, just in case that the artilleryman here is downed, and which we will have more troops here stationed. Another one can run in and take its place instead of taking the doorways through. That's if they're not open or locked during an attack. Now, let's have a look at the little idea I'm going here. It's been put together quickly, so it's been a platform. So it makes sense that the United States Army would use these deployable barricades. They may have, scavenged them from military checkpoints and whatnot, and the idea is that they buried some to match up in the ground to protect the base strut of the cannon, which is great. The scaffolding is more to help out with putting a bit of ballistic defense, firearm ballistic defense against incoming fire for the artillerymen on top, which makes sense, and I always like the cannon position idea where you have sandbags around it. I love sandbags, they're awesome. But anyway, this is generally the build right now. I'm actually going to close in on this officer right now who's currently patrolling around the way. We're actually going to see him go back to his duties now, hopefully. So let's see, let's follow him in, shall we? Door is open. And he goes back to monitoring these situations on the radios, which he takes out a pen and paper and writes down all incoming traffic, also Minutemen related news as well, and operational news, keeping a record of all transmissions, which is the idea in general. I think it's like the basics for the basis for most radio operators that keep logs or journals or audio recordings of all conversations if they're ordered to, if that's correct. But anyway, guys, this is pretty much the idea. It's small, it's compact, it does look like it was built here, like deployed quickly, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed building it. It was just a little fun messing around with the small one. It did take a little while, and it looks like it didn't take a little while, but I went through like 6 different types of buildings and whatnot, and different kind of platforms, and I got to the one where it's just, basic one is the best kind of one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. As usual, we're here at Summervale Place, I think it's called. I can't remember the name of it, but you guys will know in the comment section. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on RTC. See you guys, have a good one.